Well, big surprise again. People are worried about the fact that all the lockdowns and grinding the economy to a halt, forbidding people from working, casting people into one of two groups, those being essential or non essential. They're now worried about the effect this might have on hunger. Now, this is something I remember saying and making a video about months ago. Apparently, some people didn't realize that production, distribution, work, and investment played a role in providing food for people. Even in the US, food insecurity is on a huge rise, and who knows how this plays out in terms of having far more malnourished kids than we have in quite some time. People are worried about global food shortages as well, which at this point is a very legitimate concern, but it has to be said that it's very unfortunate no one paid any mind to the people who were calling for the sober minds among us to prevail and be listened to. Instead, they were mocked and ridiculed and ignored. And also, those who held the power decided to go all in on the hysteria and paranoia, lock everything down, forbid a huge chunk of labor from taking place, and now they're surprised that this has significantly reverberated throughout the world. It's a horrifying thing to read about how families across the world who have children that are going hungry. It's gut-wrenching, and every politician that said we need to grind everything to a halt is to blame. No one had the sense early on to say what many people were saying, including myself, that the most vulnerable among us, the elderly and the immunocompromised, they should be looked after, and they should know that it's not wise to go around huge groups of people, and if you have a little time or money to give, helping those groups of people out would be best. No, instead of that, it was an all-encompassing culture of absolute fear and paranoia that led to economic paralysis. Health orders shutting businesses down, screwing up distribution centers, meat plants not being able to produce what they need to, and now the mainstream seems to have caught up a little bit 6 months later, and now they're worried about what many were talking about long ago. It's really quite infuriating, in fact, and not for nothing, again, too many people are getting it wrong. Too many people are still saying COVID has done this, and what a terrible thing coronavirus has done to us. No, again, it was the politicians. It was the people creating the mandates and the laws and those who were having the press conferences whipping up fear and hysteria and forbidding people from working. They are the ones that are to blame through and through. And also, not for nothing, the citizens that bought into all their lines of fear. There should have been a heck of a lot more pushback from the general population, but instead, we got a nation and apparently a world full of sheep that just go along with what they are told. Well, one thing is for certain, moving forward in the future, anytime there's a new disease, which there will be another one, the response cannot be the same as COVID. We can't afford it. The response cannot be everyone being paralyzed in place of fear and taking all the politicians' word for it on how horrible things will be if we all don't bow down and obey what our politicians decree to be the only way through the mess. We can't do this again because whatever the disease is, it won't matter. The economic destruction will be enough to cause mass pain that any disease could only hope to cause. But that's all for right now. Like and subscribe, and take it easy.